Welcome to News 9 Live, and you are watching On Point with me. And in this edition, we will discuss Chief Minister Biren Singh's statement on how vested interests want to sabotage peace efforts in Manipur and want the violence to continue. Biren Singh, speaking in the State Assembly on Thursday, asserted that his government shifted people from ethnic violence-hit areas such as Churachandpur, Moreh and Imphal to safer places to protect them once violence broke out on May 3rd. 2023. He added that the government prioritized the security of its citizens and for that reason decided to evacuate people. He highlighted that there are people who are working to disrupt the peace process, effort, and said that arson broke out in Jiribam a day after the peace pact was signed. However, despite efforts to derail peace, 133 people who had fled their homes in Jiribam have returned.
I think there are a lot of people who want to sabotage, who want the violence to continue. Regarding the shifting of people at that time, I don't know what the security forces thought about. But for us as the government, we thought about the safety and security of citizens, and we thought that it should be given priority. We shifted people from the violence-hit areas to nearby safer security camps or buildings. People in the security camps were constantly calling their loved ones, seeking their evacuation. We all were kept sleepless, but we thought that saving people's lives was more important, and we took the decision. We were walking a very tight rope. Had we not shifted people to safer places, and if any major casualty had happened, it would have been bad. We know about the situation of our honorable MLA's village and we knew what was to be done.
Biren Singh also addressed the issue of AFSPA in the assembly and stated that he would try his best to appeal to the centre to remove AFSPA from Manipur. He also mentioned that there has been pressure from some central agencies to reimpose the AFSPA in the valley districts as well.
The insurgency movement in the state was intensified due to the feelings of revenge and anger against the inhumane AFSPA in those days. If you do wrong things against our sister, then we will fight. This was the kind of feeling of revenge which was there. I think after the merger with India, Manipur, which was a princely state, was put as a Part C state and then as a union territory for a long time. People are hurt and feel disrespected. Even today, I personally feel bad. AFSPA was imposed in the state during 1971-72. We all know which party was the ruling party at that time. I'm not talking about politics, but just wondering how their leaders treated our state.
So the question is, one, are some forces trying to sabotage peace efforts in the state? And which are the central agencies trying to push AFSPA in the valley? On this, I am joined by P.K. Mishra, former IGBSF, retired Colonel Shanti Kumar Sapam, spokesperson, World Mighty Council, and Dr. Thangolal Haukip, Assistant Professor, Center for Civil Law and Governance, and Brijesh Pandey in studio. Let me straight away go to Mr. Mishra. There are two very important things. One, are there vested interests trying to sabotage peace in Manipur?
Yes, I am very clearly telling it. There are forces who are trying indirectly and in hidden ground, they are trying to sabotage. Otherwise, it could not have taken a long time. As Honorable Chief Minister has already stated that the people from Churachandpur, Moreh and these areas and also Bishnupur, they were evacuated, and from Imphal also they were evacuated. That means both cookies and mighties in this affected areas were evacuated and they were kept in safe security camps and the relief was provided. But I can well tell you this can be sorted out. It's not that nothing can be sorted out. There are vested interest in this state which is taking place, and even I can well tell that perhaps security forces which were there operating may not be doing their duties properly. Otherwise, how come so many weapons came from Myanmar? How come poppy cultivation was carried out everywhere in all the hills? How come more than 60 to 70,000 Myanmaris entered Manipur and they got settled? So how come Cookie and Joe, they revolted? How come Mighties, they looted police stations and took the arms? And that means hidden agenda is there. And we must sort it out. And in fact, Mr. Biren Singh has clearly stated that the fact is correct. Some people, they do not want, someone is trying, definitely, I don't think that some
vested
political
interest.
party
Okay, sir.
want to
Sir.
blame anybody.
So you're saying that they are vested interests, Brijesh, are they vested interests?
There could be. There's no denying it, because it's not like, that there is no, outside force who would want to fish in troubled water, as the situation between ethnicities have been going from, bad to worse. And there's no meeting ground, which is visible vis-a-vis the violence which has been going on for a very long time now. But, I would be, as I said yesterday also, I would be very, very keen to know, that the forces which we are talking about, other than the outside forces, the security forces, their placement, and how did these many people crossed in, as Sir was just saying. The fact of the matter, Mr. Mishra, the fact of the matter is that it puts a very bad light not only on the force but also on the overall evaluation as to if the government is aware of something which we are not aware of, why is the government not taking action? And if the force is corrupt, or if the force is compromised to allow enter of people inimical to India's interest, how do you think that they are going to serve if they have been patriated back to the state of Jammu and Kashmir? So I'm just saying that, if that is the case, then things head should roll. People should come out with more information as to what exactly Assam Rifle has done, because otherwise it's very, very demoralizing to the force that, that their name has become a by name for not being efficient, for not being competent, and of course being hand in gloves with what is going on in the hills, and that is the reason why they have been removed from there. Otherwise, everything else is lip service.
Okay, let me go across to Mr. Haukip. Mr. Haukip, are people trying to sabotage peace? I'm going to play the full bite out also. It's a roughly 2-minute 52-second bite. I've just given the first part. Are there vested interests?
Brijesh, there was vested interest, there is, and there will be vested interest every time. The problem is how someone who is the head of government handles this. Let's go back to 15 years of Ibobi rule in Manipur, for instance. The Ibobi was very hard upon insurgent groups, right? For 15 years, he tried to be hard on insurgent groups, and he has a bad name in terms of how he cracked down insurgent groups. For instance, 15 years ago, every department, every employee has to pay a certain amount of money every month or every year to insurgent groups as a kind of donations, compulsory donations. But within 15 years of Ibobi's rule, he cracked down all these kind of groups in the state, and by the end of that decade, for instance, by 2010, such donations or such extortions came down, and people started thinking about entrepreneurship, small scale trade or others, even construction of their own houses and other comforts are coming into picture in Imphal, Tiruzanpur, or any places in the state. So Biren Singh inherited that kind of semblance of peace, or some kind of law and order in the state. And now within 7 years, he has turned again into the pre-Ibobi era. So that has to be noted down carefully. I'm not neither a Congress, leaning or a BJP leaning academician. I'm just looking clearly into what is Manipur. So there are vested interests, and how the head of government handles all those vested interests is very crucial. Particularly how the chief minister, for instance, handles certain group demands. During Ibobi regime, there were the Naga groups in Manipur. having certain demands, for instance, integration of the northern hills of Manipur into Nagaland.
Fair enough. You made a strong point. I'll come to you. I'm also joined by Mr. Sapam. Mr. Sapam, am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
A very warm welcome on my show. Mr. Sapam, Biren Singh today said that there are some forces trying to sabotage peace efforts in the state and they want to continue the violence. Do you think that there are forces in Manipur who want to sabotage peace?
Good evening, Kartikeji. Thank you for inviting me. One thing which I would like to say is, you know what happened? I have been harping on this point that the security advisor and chief minister, they should be giving orders to the different forces so that their commands are effective. But somehow, if it was in that case, they have not been effective. And things kept on going. And for example, let's say the Jiribam case, the private secretary to the chief minister, he had written a letter to the chief secretary as well as to the security in charge advisor. But somehow what happened was, you know, things should have been done. That was not done actually. As per my understanding, they should have.
What was not done? What was not done? So what was not done?
It was not done means, you know, deployment should have been done. Deployment should have been done in the sensitive areas, but nothing was done till the time a person was killed in the month of, I think, June or so. And, you know, and thereafter, I don't know whether chief minister and the security advisor, they plan to deploy what order they gave. But to my understanding, if this kind of things happen, then some force should be deployed in the village rather than taking out people from that village and leave.
There are a couple of things I would like to bring it on table. You see, when the peace process was signed in Jiribam, why did the Hamar local council was dissolved? Why did that happen? Does it mean that people are not allowing smaller tribes, middle tribes to take initiative? Is that the way you know, things are panning out, Mr. Mishra? There was an effort made. You can criticize it, but you know, those bodies were dissolved. So you did not allow the local people to take initiative.
Yes, it is a fact. They should, in fact, it should not have been dissolved. And the worst part of it, when it happened at Jiribam, it's a pinpoint responsibility should have been fixed wherever it happens. It happens in Chodachandpur, it happens in More, it happens in Imphal. Responsibility should be fixed, action should have been taken. And who has the person who deserved Mar group, that was not in the interest of local people. And what happened in Jiribam, the information was there, the intelligence was there, and then also it happened. And that is really, it is a shame that a small place like Jiribam cannot be controlled. This is really surprising, I'm telling you. And I can well tell you, we have replaced at two places.
Sir, as I said, let me play out the full bite of Biren Singh, and then there will be another part on which we will be discussing why Biren Singh is saying that there are parties who want to impose AFSPA in the valley area. So there is a two-pronged discussion which I am going to have. Free, fair, and I will allow all of you to speak. So let me play out the bite of the Chief Minister once again. Fuller version.
Sabotage on me, Irang Saganama Miame, Adum Iran Sita Dum Lehening Miame. We put Shidu can Maduna Maru Oibanina, Matam do they Koshu, Higdum Dindu, Mapamaran Kanga, Adagi Mikap Miracle, Mayamana, Koilotopio, Sida Secure, the Oidenta was a Kangam, Security Singshna, Putor Kibini. Displaced person in Hill Valley, Security Force in Honduras, Kaidopo the Montaways. Masha Ayaning, Togdog Topam Mapam do that. ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯑꯍꯤꯡꯁꯤꯡꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯇꯨꯝꯗꯦ ꯇꯥꯔꯤꯛ ꯑꯍꯨꯝꯒꯤꯁꯨ ꯍꯣꯜ ꯑꯍꯤꯡꯗꯣ ꯇꯨꯝꯗ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯃꯔꯤꯁꯨ ꯇꯨꯝꯗꯦ ꯃꯉꯥꯁꯨ ꯇꯨꯝꯗꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯑꯣꯐꯤꯁꯁꯤꯗ ꯉꯥꯎꯅꯔꯒ ꯀꯣꯛꯁꯦ ꯉꯥꯎꯅꯔꯒ ꯂꯩ ꯃꯗꯨꯗꯩꯗ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯍꯣꯟꯗꯣꯔꯛꯀꯦ ꯃꯤꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯒꯤꯅ ꯃꯣꯔꯦꯒꯤꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯗ ꯊꯝꯃꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯁꯥꯝ ꯔꯥꯏꯐꯜꯒꯤꯗ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯆꯨꯔꯆꯥꯟꯄꯨꯔꯒꯤꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯗ ꯊꯝꯃꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ secretary ki du thame atai khara selak pana selak khare adu adagi di akhoina masi yaragadi dum thamna ba tawsran tawkan adagi phone paineraga mikap mirau khol even khoi gi sosanpur gi medical college gi manung da leiba ichan sing isa sing mayam duna ai khoi longthok biro hondok biro khoi taw biro adu gumbagi pot mayam mamdi safety is a first haidi life tu ngasagi haibi gi badwaina miyogi punsidu kanbaduna maru oibanina matamdu dai khoisu ahigdung gindu mafam marang khanga karna adagi mikap mirau khol mayam duna khoi longthok piyo sida secure de oi den tawu sakoi khallaga khangam duna security singsina puthorkibani even honorable member ranjit ki serau gi amanung sidai da laikhraba changba yadraba somdagi changi kapa e hai ama taw he tawga pura tawga lairaba madai da upai laitadana kondang da assam rifle da request orukanda moidu puthorki adumai ta ugna masi hujikti madu puthomdamna phabra haibagi pot lai ado puthomdamna phabra da kaigumma hujikta lakoni do kaigumma puthomdadana kamuk life asi ana yorom magidi amuk ngasi amu ningam hogroi aduna madugi do thaudongna security singi moigi intention na kari leibno di khangde but as a government as a chief minister matam do the life saving guna hena importance woi haidana khoi so hongdorong na puthorong na hona bada even si imphal da leiba mafam khara da leiba sing si moi khoi separate area da puthong na separate area da maram di more thousands lakhraba tens of thousands mayam do the nomai kapu su yabana ta ba khud tharbu su yabana ta madu gi adugum bagi sinnama leigi banina madudai da sar koina security na tor madu toboi ni ngasai panbi ki Jiribam da pese lakho bo jiri da thoi da sume support sauna mi ame irang sagana mi ame adum irang sida dum lehening mi ame aduna nan he peace to we haibaga ai kanna bo law bo yadre na adu ngarang nan tabiramani imung samaga control do mo honjalaga hanagi moi mafam da change sumai tawdana mafam aya mafam sing hujik changnana ba aikoi gi site gi yam kanna honajari na damaina I thamjage.
Okay, so that's one. And the second thing which the Chief Minister has said, that there is a conspiracy to apply AFSPA in the Imphal Valley. Mr. Mishra, are some people conspiring to impose AFSPA in Imphal Valley?
Yes, I can tell you AFSPA was earlier there and that was removed because of certain purpose, that peace process came in and Imphal was very clear and absolutely clean. That is why AFSPA was withdrawn. There is no, I repeat, no necessity for AFSPA to be again reintroduced in Imphal. If somebody wants to do it, that is a very wrong thing. It will go against the peace process, because I am very sure AFSPA bringing again AFSPA in may be the handiwork of few organizations, those who had interest in taking percentage of poppy cultivation and the money 60 to 70 lakh, which they were earning per year, the percentage was coming. That is very wrong. And AFSPA, once it has gone, you see, the peace process should continue. And you see, for Katwa incident, for Jammu and Kashmir incident, what has happened in Royasi and Katwa, the Director General of BSF was removed. What is the problem with the advisor of security in Manipur? Is he doing his job? Is he not responsible for the problem which is arising in Manipur? Can he sort it out, or he has not sorted out? What is the problem? Why should he not give responsibility to those senior officers who have failed in their duties? They should be immediately removed. And I am telling you very frankly, AFSPA, if anybody again is conniving that AFSPA should come back, certainly it should not be done. I can well tell you, forces are supposed to be there for 2 to 3 years, and then the battalion should be changed. Why forces in a particular state should remain for more than 20 to 30 years? I had a house, my son joining the same force will take that house again, that will be given to him, and his son, my grandson, will again take that house. What is this going on in Manipur? And that is what is the problem. That is what is the problem. Change it. It's not only 2 battalions. Every battalion should go for 3 years out.
But you know, the Chief Minister is also saying, that the AFSPA should be removed from every part of Manipur. Mr. Aukip, he's also saying in his bite that AFSPA should go.
Definitely, as academician, we would also like AFSPA to go away from the whole region, from the whole country. But let me remind you this thing, right? In 2023 April, AFSPA was removed from the peripheral areas of Imphal Valley, and the next month, the violence broke out. So some radical groups, some people with vested interests are taking advantage of the removal of AFSPA from the peripheral areas of Imphal Valley. So this has to be, taken cognizance. Not just that, people are vitriolic and they wanted to impose AFSPA on certain areas and remove on others. If you look into the Manipur state as a whole, in the hill areas, the Naga groups, the Kuki groups, the insurgent groups signed ceasefire with the central government. And most of the insurgent groups in Imphal Valley are, listed as, insurgent groups or terrorist group by the Home Ministry. Yet in Imphal Valley, where there are a lot of insurgent groups right now roaming around, AFSPA has been removed. So these are the kind of unequal treatment of the hills and the valley that many people complain. And if there is AFSPA in the hills, why not in the valley where you have a lot of insurgent groups who are not in ceasefire agreement with the central government? That is the main argument. And let me come back to my previous argument regarding this vested interest. As I've stated, there are many vested interests between tribes, communities, and societies. In every groups, there are vested interests. And as head of the government, he has to tackle all these issues. Like 15 years of Ibobi's rule, he has tackled the Naga demands without any kind of conflict between the dominant groups and the other hill groups. So that kind of statesmanship is needed to lead a diverse.
But there is one thing which has happened. We have been critical of most of the things, but now the messaging has increased on part of the Manipur government. I can say that 1.5 years it was complete, like it was difficult to know what people were thinking. But now on multiple issues, the messaging has become stronger. The messaging has become more sharp. Let me play out another bite of the Chief Minister.
Nang aigi chanda dumai tawde ai nang bulaman singane adugi wakhanda ba asagi insurgency gi momentum ama wangkhat kris because of this act ai aining. Honorable Speaker sir, Armed Forces Special Power Act masi gi mayokta Manipur gi miyamna leirak pasi kuire even ai samak aina naharol thodang aina cover ba Daily newspaper ma tobukanda ai gi headline ai gi theme do sir dedicated for the cause of human rights tokjarakuni matamduda press ekoi editor ga se press office ta phajana editor oiraga ibagi khudong chaba gokpi daba building mathakta army car ga laini manungda commando changakani mi ma changbuda hangni tawni torkana ekoi democratic rights ekoi da laiter madugi dagi ekoi dum masi fight torga ilakhibani just like cover touring matamdagi hujik tawrisisu ai sungai ramai tawdana Manipur gumba yamna princely kingdom oiramba ga hoi merger agreement tawrba matungda aikogi Manipur da central government central gi matamdugi leadership ne yangam mi engdo ai madu yaningde ai hujik phawda madugi ningdon pombodo ai gas house ki dang phongdok maramdi princely kingdom loina leirame merge tawre fazal madugi status sama pira kana respect pira kana thamam matamda ngasi Manipur langi se langam moina lowi parsi state oina thame then the union territory oina thamakan Manipur da masigi Armed Forces Special Power Act imposed of gibasi 1970 central kanagi sarkar lege do yamna du yembiro ai masida party mati paninde moina matamdu da khoji kramai ubuno ise khoisi ai hujik choi question to 1970 28 9 1970 duni Manipur North District aduga Manipur West Manipur East Mao West subdivision Manipur North District of Manipur haina tarkanda sigi armed forces special power act thamjal given sigi act sida yauriba tauriba du nga sai honorable member na hai sathi khaba mi ma chungne yena hatpada madu case to waya da complaint to waya da yam inhuman doiba draconian law hai this the higher posting makha da ko suffer to gum yama not only in the hills sigi act sigi makha da support to ko di valley da su hill da su adu gi manaba sai theng sathi na fanki madumang na bu mioi kaya na armed forces special power ki mayokta agitation to ki even self emulation to ki or dharna sai taramari yamna mioi ba ma da satkadaba mioi ba ma da panbiya ba adugumba ek nataba haitar aduna hantak sar aina panjaning ba da hanagi colonial time gi criminal law sing criminal gi action hantak honorable prime minister modi ji gi makhada criminal law act ahum samtokre hariba samtok pasida khara humanitarian lom da emphasis piba dignity miyogi ngakpa justice piba adugumogi pot yawba law ahum samtokre hojiki armed forces special power act na manipur da thengnariba awaba sing sa hantak ai nahan panjabado hojiki valley da oireba phibam tawriba phibam nahan third may da gi tawriba situation sida agency kharanadi.
So now I'll come back to the moot question. You know, Chief Minister has addressed a lot of issues today, but one thing he kept on saying was, which I found very important, because, you know, he said multiple things. He said he had to take the difficult decision to send people to protected areas. It was not a choice he had to save them, Brijesh.
Well, I think, you know, the kind of security environment at that point of time was there. I mean, if he took that decision, that's absolutely all right. I mean, you know, there's no fault with the decision, because any state government's topmost priority will be to protect their citizenry and ensure that they are kept out of harm's way. So there's absolutely no problem with that. But you know what I'm finding it very peculiar, and I'm finding it very surprising, is that, you know, the statement made by the Chief Minister saying that there are central agencies who are trying to impose president rule or AFSPA
there's a pressure. You remember the story came 6 months ago, if you recall?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you recall?
Yeah.
You know, when the police officers was saying in the press conference, if there is if law and order is not controlled, then
absolutely.
You remember that show?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
The stricter version would come.
So see, what I'm trying to say is that how come, you know, when you have a same party government in the state and the center, when you have an entire security paraphernalia on the state, and then your Chief Minister says that there are central agencies who want to impose AFSPA on that, and, you know, then you have a all-out narrative that Assam Rifles was involved in some sort of thing, and that is the reason why they were believed. I mean, you know, it points to a much murkier detail than, you know, I think most of the people are not aware of. Is there a larger grid game which is going on, of which all of us are unaware, that, you know, the agencies want to impose AFSPA to do what? And the Chief Minister is opposed to that. So what exactly is going on is honestly speaking pretty baffling to me.
Okay. Mr. Sapam, as we discussed, three things. One, Chief Minister said he had no choice, he had to move people. Second, he said there are vested interest. And third, he said it was in 71-72 that AFSPA was imposed when the Congress government in power. I think the most important thing which the Chief Minister has said was that there are vested interests, and when he says he had no option, the only option was safety, to move people out when the violence broke out.
Yeah, absolutely correct. As far as the initial stage was concerned, that was on 3rd May 2023. It was absolutely correct. It happened suddenly. But what happened was, what I said was about Jiribam case, that they shouldn't have been, evacuated. People could have been put there. A lot of information were there. And if the security advisor and chief minister, if they are given order to do certain things, and if they had discussed out on the table or on the sand model that now this kind of threat is coming up, so many people have moved in with weapon in Jiribam side, then what should be done? They should have, discussed, and they should have done the thing. And if they have done, and if they are not followed, which I do not know because I am not in this thing, but chief minister and the security advisor would be able to say exactly on that. But second part, Jiribam, absolutely, people should have been kept there. But the Churchandpur side, the first case, that was, caught unaware, and people have to be, safety was more important in that case. And as far as, this is the fallout of the chief minister's statement. It is the fallout of that incident, various incidents which have taken place, including Jiribam. I don't know what type of instruction they have given to the different type of forces. That I do not know, basically. This chief minister and those in power, they will be able to tell that.
Mr.
This is what I
Mishra,
want
Mr.
to-
Mishra, Chief Minister has been categorical. I think that was the most important part of our program today. He tried his best to restore peace in Jiribam, and the forces worked against it. The local units were dissolved. I again come back to the point, are there people working to ensure that the process started by Biren Singh fails?
No doubt you are correct. There are personal vendetta and there is a force which is working. They want that uncertainty should continue, and those who are voicing for again reimposing AFSPA, as Honorable Chief Minister Biren Singh ji was telling, he is correct. Jiribam was known. The incident of Jiribam which happened, it was known. What happened in Churachandpur, More and Imphal on the first 2 days, of course, it was very sudden and immediately it happened and it sparkled. But what happened in Jiribam was in the knowledge of the government, of the security forces. How come the security forces could not control? Number two, how come so many weapons, people with so many weapons, militants, they came to Jiribam, and hundreds of people, they had to leave Jiribam. Of course, few of them, they have come back. So the Jiribam shows there are some forces which are playing underground just to see that things should continue as it is and AFSPA should continue, and then certain forces should remain deployed there for years together. And that is what Mr. Biren Singh is telling, and I agree with it. And I can well vouch that we have to not only look after Biren Singh ji may be a mighty, and in fact, some senior officers may be mighties, but we have to look into the interest of both mighties and cookies and George also to see that peace process should continue. To continue peace process, you should not again impose AFSPA. Give them a time, ask them, discuss with them in their areas. Let it not be at Imphal. Let it be at the discussion should be at Bishnupur, which is
Mr. Mishra, you see, Jiribam was a great success story.
Yeah.
Jiribam was a great success story.
Yes.
And we did a special program, and I really hope that the Jiribam could have been replicated, multiple Jiribams in Manipur, multiple ways in which local communities could have come together. But when the ownership of local communities is taken away, overrun by bigger agencies, I think that's where the problem is. And that is why when someone says that there is a vested interest, when there is a vested interest to stop the peace process, I tend to agree there. Because now it cannot be a matter of discussion on TV channels. If there is a peace process in place, then the peace process has to sustain itself. Other agencies cannot, should not counter it. So again I say, when Biren Singh says vested interest, it's a matter of great concern.
Big fan of Ian Bell, watching him very classy in all formats.